What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report. So we actually have a lot of unexpected news because of what has been coming out over this past week. Some of this has been rather good news, other has not been so great. Now, I addressed just the other day that we could potentially see some forms of gas relief, and we could see the pain at the pumps get reduced. But at the same time, when I say this, there's the expectation that we're going to see gas prices come down. Others say that no, it's not really going to happen, so I want to address what's actually going on. So here's what's going on right now. As prices starting going up for gasoline, for food, for housing, and everything in between, lawmakers, they started calling on President Biden. They started calling on your other lawmakers to get together and let's provide more support for the American people. The discussions for relief started to increase. Well, at this time, these calls are going unanswered. People are not doing much for the American right now. Really, the only relief is coming from states and local governments. There's where the relief is coming from. So if you want any stimulus, it's more likely going to come from your state or from your local government. For example, the federal government at this time is highly unlikely to provide any additional relief. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because there's not enough support. That's the reason why, and it's simply due to the fact that lawmakers don't support additional spending in times of high inflation and high uncertainty, which we have both of those at this time. But that doesn't mean that the states do not feel the same way. For example, California is likely to provide additional either stimulus checks or they will provide some form of gas cards. And the reason for this is because they do have they have a budget surplus from last year. So they're going to use that they have because guess what? They have to get it back to their residents. That's good news. We know New York is providing residents who didn't previously get a stimulus checks the ability to get one now. New York is actually providing about $2 billion towards this bill. In addition, their governor wants to provide a $125 tax refund to all residents again due to their budget having a surplus from last year. And Florida, and I addressed this before, Florida is going to give out $1,000 to all teachers and educators, and even Governor Ron DeSantis. He is going to give teachers a raise of roughly $7,500 per year. That's big. That's a huge incentive. Now that we know what states are doing, and enough with that individual states are doing, let's talk about what President Biden is doing. So here's what we know. President Biden is actually taking a lot of heat for things that he has said and done well, or really at this point not done. Some of these things include his plans on reducing the pain at the pumps and bringing gas prices back down, and others are promised to give up to $10,000 in student debt, and another is providing affordable food and limit shortage to the American people. Let's address those three things. The first one, eliminating or reducing the pain at the pumps. Well, how is he going to do this? President Biden's plan is to release 180 million barrels of oil into our economy. That should work, right? Well, some say yes, it's a short-term plan, others say no. So I can't do much. And the reason for this is actually pretty simple. The United States uses about 19 million barrels of oil per day. 280 million barrels is going to be released, a little bit over 1 million barrels per day. So it's not going to provide a huge amount of relief, at least in the short term. But others say long term. This would actually hurt us or it will help us. But there's the other plan, and this is President Biden's big plan. President Biden wants to place financial penalties on drillers for unused federal permits and also focus on clean energy. Now, a financial penalty on a driller for an unused federal permit, guess what? That is going to impact some of these drillers. Okay, lest we have to start drilling, we have to start pulling oil out of the ground. So if there's are just unused permits just sitting there, what President Biden wants to do is make sure these are getting used in some way. Somebody has stopped pulling oil out of the ground. Now that's great, but at the same time, the financial penalty on some of these companies And at the same time, President Biden is asking to focus on clean energy. Guess what? These companies are not going to want to invest money back into their business, into these companies to produce even more profits, while at the same time they were worried that our current administration is likely to increase taxes and they will have to pay even more. So in the long run, it would make more sense to not pull more oil out of the ground, not be more profitable and push their profits back. Because if we see a different president come in, we see Republicans gain control of the House and the Senate, this could completely change things. So we will see what happens there. Another promise that President Biden made: forgive him up to $10,000 in student debt. Now let's touch on this for a second. Here's the reason why we have less than 1 month until the student loan payments are now going to be due. The payment pause expires the end of April. So as of May 1st, these payments have to be restarted. The problem is many people are not ready. Many people do not have the ability to make these payments. These $300, $400, maybe $500 per month payments. Some people will struggle, especially lower income and middle income households. Here's the other thing, and again, this is another promise that President Biden made, is he was going to take care of the American people. He was gonna make sure that we were taken care in tough times, which we are currently still in. But another promise was to provide more nutrition, right? Affordable food, limit shortages, and all those things. I talked about this the other day that we are seeing a lot of food shortages, and the expectation is food prices are actually going to go up in the next couple of months. But there's what I can tell you. President Biden stated that the US is going to see some real food shortages and it's going to be a real problem. President Biden, he has a lot to do, simply because the public health emergency is almost up when this actually expires on April 15. In 13 days, millions of Americans are currently enrolled in collecting SNAP benefits. They will see their benefits get reduced by around $100 per month. Now the majority of the states will be impacted, and it will really hurt lower income families. And this is a major issue because President Biden has said we are going to provide more support, but this time it's not looking so likely. The other thing that Biden has done or actually seen is that lawmakers want to see more production here at home regarding food. Well, how do we know that? Well, just the other day, 2 senators began joining farm groups and other lawmakers and actually calling for the USDA to allow farmers to plant on converse land. Now we know there's going to be a major shortage. There already is, but it's going to compound. At least that's according to multiple experts. Even the USDA has stated food prices are going to skyrocket even more. Rice meats are going to go up, more than 10%. Or 10, 12, 40% is going to be insane. But that's the thing. Senators are telling President Biden, hey, let's do this. So we're gonna see what happens there. But according to reports, things will eventually get back to a more normal state. But it will take quite a bit of time. So we will see what happens, but that is what we know at this time. As always, I'll come back and share all latest news and updates again.